Hi, I am Itesha Jeff, and I am a mindfulness and meditation practitioner, author, and inspiration speaker. And this is In Conversation with the Masters. And in this series, I will be in conversation with open-minded, open-hearted, and conscious living people from around the globe who will be answering some of life's most profound questions. And today, I am talking to Chandra K Singh, who is the founder of 8box as well as a holistic practitioner or healer. So Chandra, thank you for joining us today, and thank you so much for making time to have a chat with us.
Pleasure.
How are you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. So, look, in this series, we're going to be asking questions that people have been asking for thousands and thousands of years. So it's going to be a conversation unlike anything people have heard before. So let's get started. Chandra, the first question that I want to ask you is, what is the meaning of life? Why were we born? What is your take on that?
Okay, this is a long one, but let me see what my take on it is.
Yeah.
You know, if you take anything, a seed, okay, you put a seed into the ground and then you get a little shoot and then it starts to grow. It gets the wind, the sun, the rain, the air, okay, and it starts to bloom. And as it blooms, it starts to flower and it looks stunning, okay, and everybody else gets to see its beauty. And that is life. That is a human. We start with a little seedling. We end up growing for 9 months, and then we start blooming. We learn, we get knowledge, we evolve, and that is life. Put in a nutshell.
So the meaning of life is to grow or to have an experience. Oh, like yes. What is it? Is it just to grow, or just to be, or just to do things, or what? What do you think?
We're all light beings. We're all energy, okay? And energy never, ever dies. So we keep evolving. So life is for us to learn. So we are born, we learn life's lessons, how to react, how to act, what things you should do, how to love, how to be conscious, how to appreciate, okay? And also we go through emotional ups and downs, and it's a learning curve for us. So, for example, you've come into this world, you meet this wonderful person, you get married, things are not working out, and the best option is a divorce. That's the way out, okay? An alternative scenario is to work it out, all right? And you say, well, no, what's going on here? Let us try and work this out. What is the difference between us? Why is it not working? Am I overreacting? Am I not being considerate, either to you or to your views, or vice versa? So then you find out that it's either working and you carry on, or you divorce. Okay. So have you learned the lesson or not? That is the big question.
So
okay.
Once you learn the lesson?
Okay, I find if you've learned the lesson, okay, you've done a part of life, okay? So, I believe in reincarnation, okay? So I believe in things that if we haven't learned the lesson, we will come back to relearn those lessons until we've learned it. And so that's all it is. It's just a matter of life is evolvement, is growing, is learning, and it's knowledge and it's consciousness, basically.
So, I've always heard of, life, that you're born and that you have so many lessons to learn. And when we speak of the word lesson, or we speak of learning or lessons, we always think of school. So then, do you believe that life is a school? And do you think that we have grades? And after we complete school, what happens? Do we then go to another school, a bigger school, a university? Or Do we qualify, or what do we qualify in?
Yes. Yes, we do. Okay. Are we talking about then after that, after death? Is that what you mean?
I mean, look,
Or,
say we've learned the lessons, we've gone through life, we've learned about love, we've learned about health, we've learned about forgiveness, we've learned all the life lessons. I know there's no one answer to this, but just your personal take. After we've learned the lessons, then what?
Okay, so you've learned all your lessons. You've lived a wonderful life. You've reacted in the right ways. Nobody's perfect, obviously. Even the perfect person has a few ups and downs. But say, for example, you've done everything your best. So we call those people old souls because they've been here before. They've been on this earth. They've learned all the lessons. They've been through. They either become helpers on the earth. They become active people, either in the healthcare or counseling, or because they've learned lessons, they now start to, or even your gurus, etc. So they start to impart that knowledge onto the other people. So say now after that they've done everything they've possibly could do, and obviously they expire, they die. So my take is after that we go through levels again. Like you started at school on earth, you went to university, you had marriage, you went through the stages. You will now start those stages. Okay. Whereby it will be helping those at the lowest level of death. Say, for example, people who've committed suicide, murderers, those sort of things. So you will help evolve those people. Okay. Then the next level is maybe in a health section where you help people with certain types of emotions, because even after death, we've still got lessons to learn, because I feel Earth is like a holiday. We're here on holiday, and death is going home, the real home. And so you have levels, you start to evolve there as well. And when you start to evolve, you see, when you start off, you would start off at the lowest end, which would be more solid, heavy, like you're on earth, where you feel for food and drink and emotions. As you evolve, you become lighter. There's no need for that feeling of food or emotions. We're all just, and then as you evolve even more, you start to communicate in different ways. So then it won't be talking, it would be through the third eye, through the mind. And so you become lighter and lighter as you evolve. That's my take.
Yeah, that's a really wonderful answer, and there's a lot in there. And I'm sure a lot of people won't agree, and a lot of people will agree. And the whole reason for having these conversations is not for you to agree or disagree, but just to open people's minds and hearts so that they are just privy to all of these different views and perspectives out there. So, I mean, if we're saying that they are life lessons and that there's a journey and that we can actually really evolve, then I guess the next question becomes, does God play dice, or do you think that we have any free will? Or do you think that everything is actually, already written out for us? Because I do readings, I read tarot, you also read tarot, you do other forms of divination as well. So you do know that certain things are already sort of preordained. But is life like a mixture of both, or do we actually have free will?
Okay, we do have free will. Okay, and what we do, say for example, it is already predestined to a certain extent. Okay, but you've got free will to change your destiny. So for example, if I say to you, you're going on a journey from Durban to Johannesburg, and I tell you, listen, Hitesh, there's a roadblock, okay? Or there's a pothole at at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you to either pay attention to what I had to say and avoid those areas. So you divert, you'll do a diversion and then carry on with your journey. If you so wish, you don't have to listen. You come across the roadblock, you're delayed, or you hit the pothole, your tire bursts, whatever. So that's the ups and downs of life, okay? But with the tarot or with the kind of thing I do, guidance counseling, I don't tell you your future. I'm not going to tell you, oh, by the way, you're going to, this is what's going to happen. I rather guide people in the present moment. I'm not going to tell them the past. They know that. I don't want to tell them the future because then they'll focus on that only. I want them to live in the present. And the present time, you say, I'm going from Durban to Joburg, and I'm telling you what blocks are on its way to you. So try and avoid it, try to unravel it, and deal with it in the present. Live in this moment and deal with those things in this moment.
I also think that, well, I believe that it is a combination of having free will and also certain things that are already really predestined for us. And the same example of, having a flight, taking a flight from Durban, going up through Johannesburg, is that you are destined to go to Johannesburg. There's no way that flight can go anywhere else in the world. So there is that destiny. But like you said, like on the way, you can choose to fly in economy or choose to fly in also first class. So, it's the destiny is the same, but your experience on the way can be different.
Yes. Yeah, your destination is exactly the same, but it's, as you say, how you deal, how you react on the flight, for example.
And you can sleep on the plane, you can watch a movie, you can choose chicken or fish, So all of the small little things you can choose, but you can't change.
You can choose, You can choose to relax and watch a movie. You can choose to read and gain some knowledge. You can choose to have a conversation with the person next to you. So it's exactly an experience as life is.
So we have freedoms within the limitations. I mean, it has to be, right? Because like soccer is played in the rectangle. You have to have boundaries. So we play the game in there, free to kick the ball wherever.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And our boundaries are in life is how we treat people, how we treat ourselves, how you treat the earth. Are we at the moment we're just abusing it? So it's about those sort of things as well. Those are our boundaries. We've been given this space, but we're going beyond our space, aren't we?
Absolutely.
We're going beyond our space on this earth because we're just a little speck. And I mean, it's a huge galaxy out there. And how we're treating this now, how we're reacting to it is going to have an effect later. So it's like the football match. He's out of bounds. He gets a yellow card. He's penalized. And so we end up with the same situation.
So, sticking with the same kind of theme, do you feel that every person has some kind of life purpose? And the reason that I'm asking you that is because I feel that we are so caught up in this need to want to achieve, to want to collect items, to want to collect titles, that recently my meditations and my thoughts have been taking me towards, what if there was no purpose? And finding peace with the fact that, or the truth that maybe there is no purpose to your life. And the purpose of life is no purpose. It's just to be as you are, the way you are, just to be, not achieve anything, not make any money, not go anywhere, just to have nothing. That's what I've been thinking recently. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you think we have purpose, or is not having a purpose also a purpose? I don't know.
I think people put too much focus on this. Oh, what is the meaning of life? What is our purpose? What are we doing here? Okay. And it's like you said, why don't you just live in the moment? Enjoy what you have, enjoy the present, as opposed to wondering, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? I need to find my purpose. You possibly are living your purpose. If you're married, you've got children, maybe that is your purpose. If you're a doctor saving lives, maybe that is your purpose. If you're a priest and you're preaching, maybe that is your purpose. But the ideal is that you love what you do. If you do not love what you do, then you are out of purpose. You've got to enjoy it. You've got to love it, no matter what it is. You could be sweeping the gutter. But if it's meditative to you, if it does not bother you and you are happy doing it, that is your purpose. Because we can't all be scientists. We can't all be doctors. We each have to do what is within ourselves, what creates happiness for us. So whether you're a scientist, a road sweeper, or whatever, you've got to put your all into it, your 100%, because you will get that 100% back.
Yeah. I think as well that, there's something called Dharma, right? And there's something also called your karma, and I think, just to very loosely speak about those two terms, is that karma is, in the sense of your purpose, has to do with things that you feel that you want to do, that you feel in this lifetime you want to do, you actually like to do. But your dharma is like a strong calling that you cannot ignore it. The more you ignore it, the stronger you have that sort of feeling. Well, that's just my take on it. But can I just share with you what is my life purpose? And my life purpose is to be having this conversation with you right now. And I think if everybody thinks that way, like maybe your purpose after this, having this conversation, is to sit in your chair, or the purpose will be to drink a glass of water. And if you think of your purpose like that, then in each and every moment you are living your purpose, instead of running after this big purpose of having this big house and lots of money and this fancy car, which is nice to have, but I don't think that we should get caught up, in all of those things.
Absolutely. It's like there's a good little story. A fisherman was idly lying on his boat, relaxing, looking at the sea, and a tourist comes by. He's quite a rich man. I think you know this one. Yeah, and he says, "Hey." Yeah. And he says, "Well, hey, what are you doing?" He says, "Well, I'm relaxing." He says, "Yeah, but why don't you, you're a fisherman. He did all his fishing in the morning and now he's relaxing in the afternoon." He says, "But why don't you get another boat and get someone else help you, and then eventually you can have a whole fleet of these things. You can be super rich." And then he said, "And then what will I do?" He says, "Then you can sit back and relax and watch the sea." And he says, "But isn't that what I'm doing already?" So it's your perception, it's your how you look at things in life, and what you take from it. Yeah. What makes you happy? As I'm going back to the point of, whatever makes you happy, and that will be your purpose. Yeah.
Life always
to be free, to be happy, to be content. That would be your purpose.
Absolutely. And I think life always comes just full circle. You always you always end at the place that you actually begun, being that state of peace and coming all the way around, doing the dance of life, and then, being still again.
Yeah. Well, life is a circle, isn't it? It's a never-ending circle. Yeah. Just like the earth is a circle.
So just to change the energy a little bit. So I'm sure in your life, you have enjoyed many successes and also many failures, because there's no way that you can have success if you haven't failed like 1,000 times. What has been your attributes to success? what values or what tools have you used to find success in whichever form that it would have?
Okay, all right. I mean, success could be having a mansion, could be having a sports car, could be having a private jet, or success could be surrounded by many people, being loved by many people. But my true success for me personally is when somebody comes to me for help. They've been in an emotional state or whatever the case might be, and their body is stiff. You can see the pain in the face. Yeah. And after I've done a treatment and they look up at me, they say, I feel different. Their eyes light up and their face softens and they have this beautiful smile on their face. To me, that is success. Wow. I've achieved something.
That's really beautiful. It's very rare to hear somebody talk about having success in that light. So then I have to ask you, if you could teach the world one concept, I mean, of all the things that you've learned from your life, if you could teach the world one thing, what would that be? Say you only had the option of teaching one piece of wisdom. What would you teach the world?
That would be love. And it starts here in your heart. You've got to accept yourself first. Love yourself first. Respect yourself first. Because it starts here. If you can do that for yourself, then your heart can open to the rest of the world. It can open to another person. You can then embrace them with love as well. And you can do that for the rest of the world. So love is not just physical or an emotional attachment. It is also extending to the people around you, to your country, to the plight of the country, etc., etc. But it always starts, the lesson starts inward, loving and respecting yourself first.
So speaking about love, do you think that we are meant to be with one person our whole lives? That we are meant, just like penguins, if a penguin has to find a mate, he or she will stay with their partner for a lifetime. Do you think that we're meant to live that way? Monogamous lives?
Okay, I don't believe in soulmates. Okay?
I don't believe
What I do believe in is people come into your life for a purpose, whatever that purpose is, good or bad. They've come to strengthen you. They've come to teach you a lesson. They've come to teach you life's lessons. Remember, I said we keep evolving, we keep learning. So if a relationship doesn't work, okay, it's because the purpose has already been served. If that person came into your life and beat you up every day, that person is only strengthening you. Okay? I don't mean that you want that. Nobody wants that. But what I'm saying is that after a while, that person becomes resilient, becomes stronger. If the person was unfaithful to you, it's life's lesson of teaching you to control emotions maybe, or to share love, or, it could be a number of things. So I feel, as I said, I think it would be best to stay in a relationship till the end, because I think you become more grounded, you become more comfortable, you become friends. It's love, it's friendship, it's an all-rounder. Whereas when you flitter from one relationship to the other, you become very insecure, or you're seeking for something that isn't there, because perhaps you're not loving this person first. You're seeking it from someone else. So those are the life lessons that we go through. So I think it would be wonderful if you have a life partner, because as I said, you learn the lessons together, you grow together, you become comfortable with each other. But as I said, we all evolve. We all come back for lessons. And those who perhaps do maintain relationships for longer are perhaps the old souls. They've been through it before. They've been through the divorce in a previous life. They've been through the hurt, the pain, the love, the joy. And so they've more evolved. And so my answer is no, I don't. It depends on where you are in your karmic life.
I always tell people, if you want to be enlightened in this lifetime, get married. Because there is so much to learn from marriage. I mean, all of your buttons are pushed. Buttons you never thought you had, places you never thought you had. Every button can, and you can either take that and be angry, or you can take that and really evolve and become enlightened in this lifetime. But I think there's a lot of pain in the world because of this fantasy of the one. I'm going to meet the one, and when I meet the one, I will know that this is the one I'm going to marry. I think that idea is really hurts us the most.
I think it's because we have high expectations, and that is due to maybe watching a romantic movie, hearing other people. And what happens is, when we do find the person, our expectations are so great that they disappoint us. The illusion has been broken, and you're disillusioned with the marriage, or because he didn't give you what you wanted, that romantic moment, or that romantic life. And so I think that's our biggest problem at the moment.
So I would like to ask you, and I have my take on this question, but why do people change after 10 years of being married to them or dating them? Why do they suddenly change after 10, 20 years? Why do they suddenly become not the man I married, or not the woman that I married? Why do you think that happens?
Okay, so when you meet your partner, all right, there are attributes that you absolutely love about them. You liked it that maybe he gave you so much attention, and or maybe he was a little remote, and you liked that. You didn't want him to be all over you. Maybe you liked some aspect about him. But after you've lived with someone, those very attributes are the things you start to resent. The reason is, say for example, a person married their spouse because they were slightly remote. They weren't overdoing it. As they go through marriage, they start to question it. Why doesn't he give me that affection? Why doesn't he give me that love? You start to crave it because you're not getting it. Although you forget that is the reason that attracted you to that person. I think through time, we actually forget this, or we change our views, our points of views on an aspect of love. It's like, when I was little, say I had a favorite dish, and my mom used to cook it all the time, and I used to love it. Years later, I'm back home, and then she cooks me the same dish, and I hate it because I just my tastes have changed. I just don't like it anymore. Do you understand? So it's the same within a marriage. Your needs change, your feelings change.
Absolutely.
And if you don't accommodate for this, that's when it starts to disintegrate. But if you can realize this and trying to compensate for it or accommodate for it, or the best thing is communication. How do you feel? What I want, what I don't want. And so you could work it out that way.
I'm very much aligned with what you have shared, but I just want to add the one point, and just to reiterate, the whole thing with change. We expect people to not change, yet change is the only constant thing in this universe. So we are changing, we are evolving. Our values, our needs, our desires, our wants change, but your partner also has those changes.
Okay. So my view on that is I can't change you.
Yeah.
You have to change yourself. But I can change how I think about you. I can change my thoughts about you, towards you. And if I look at my husband and say he's the most difficult person, that's what I'm going to get, the most difficult person. But if I say I've got somebody who is very helpful, you know, in those terms, in the positive way, you're going to attract that. That's what you're going to get. So instead of resisting, we need to yield. And that's what I think would make a better marriage or better partnership.
Yeah, I think, you know, you really know that you are in love when you don't have constant, okay, you only know that you are in love when you have consistent thoughts of wanting to kill the other person. And at the same time, you know that you can't live without this person. That's
Absolutely.
That for me is love. Absolutely. And the idea Absolutely. That love is supposed to be this bed of roses kind of thing. Oh, maybe it is a bed of roses. And roses also have thorns, you know? So, you know, it's like you have
Absolutely.
to be able to have both. You have to, love is being able, it's liking the person and hating the person equally, but also
Absolutely.
playing together. It's the group.
Look, yes, no marriage is perfect, but in every marriage, there are good aspects and there are negative aspects. So you got to look at the good and accept the negative. Okay? If you don't accept it, then you're going to have to open up to a conversation about it to implement changes that you can both live with, or that's when you separate because you can't make those changes. And as you said, I think that's very good. You can look at a person and you want to kill them. But if they're not there, you will miss them.
Absolutely.
That's very, very good. It's very dramatic, but it's very good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, I don't mean actually physically, but you know, you're angry with them. You can't stand.
No, I know. I know. I've been married 32 years.
Oh my God. Okay, that's a long time to be married with somebody. Yeah. So Chandra, it's been such an interesting conversation that I've had with you. I really want to spend like another hour talking to you, but I also want to keep within the time constraints that we have. And I want to ask you one final question. And this question is about the human race. You know, if a group of aliens had to come to you and say, look, we are going to completely destroy this world, and if you were the spokesperson for humanity, how would you defend humanity and argue for its continued existence? Would you, I mean, I think what I'm trying to ask you is human beings on the right path? Are we truly evolving as a whole? You know, there are people such as you and, you know, a few handful of people that are evolving consciously, that are living in love, that are living in the present. But the majority of people, is the human race moving forward in the right direction? Are we doing the right things? Or what do you think we need to start doing more of?
Okay. I'm going to say yes and no. The fact that we've accomplished so much, if you think we're on 4G now, we're going to end up with 5G, AI intelligence. If you look at the James Bond movies, you know, all those gadgets he had is in our hands now. We can have those things. If you take your cell phone alone and think about what it can do, what all those, other equipment, a whole room full of equipment in a tiny little cell phone. That is a yes, it's an accomplishment. The no is that we are so unconscious. We are not thinking straight. We are evolving, but evolving at the speed of lightning. It's too fast. We're leaving a lot of people behind. We're leaving the earth behind, basically. We're burning ourselves. And so the aliens don't have to destroy us. We're going to end up destroying ourselves. You know, we need to take stock and rethink this whole thing. And I think, you know, it's very pertinent to put this in now with the virus around. Is that our solution? Is that what it's come to? Has it made us stop and think the kind of pollution that we've created, the kind of human beings we are? Is it making us now become conscious? Is it making our governments now address poverty, address the homeless, address the sick, address those in congested shacks, 4 or 5 people living in a room with no ablution facilities, no water? Is that forcing us to do that? Is it forcing us to stop and spend time with our families? Stop and cook healthy food instead of having fast food and takeout? Is it stopping us from traveling so that we stop polluting the air? Is it making us look at the sky, look at the sea, look at the sand, look at the plants? Maybe we still have a fighting chance if we all become conscious, if we all stop and take a breath. And remember that 2020 equals 4, your heart chakra. Okay, so if you're looking at it scientifically, it's the endocrine system, which is the thymus, which is about opening your heart to love and compassion and empathy. And so if we don't do this, then yes, we are going to destroy ourselves. The aliens won't have to. So it's food for thought. And we should do this individually. We shouldn't say, oh, it's up to other people. So, for example, if you're in a good financial situation, now's the time to contribute to various causes to feed the homeless, to feed the poor, to get masks or hand sanitizers or whatever. If you haven't got the ability, maybe phone someone who you know is alone. The elderly, maybe an aunt, phone and make sure they're okay. You know, all those sort of things. You know, we can each individually do something. And the other thing is to be compassionate to yourself as well, to give yourself love in this time. So going inward with meditation, clear that mind so that we have a clear focus on where we want to go and what we want to do. Breathing, obviously, to open up the lungs. You know, doing lots of breathing exercises. You know, yoga or any form of exercise to get the pheromones, to get your feel-good moment. Obviously, yoga centers you as well. And then to eat right, to eat immune-boosting foods, fresh fruit and fresh vegetables, and be conscious of where your food's coming from as well. You know, this whole thing apparently started with animals or the wet markets and stuff. So we can't really say yes for sure that's where it started or how it started, because there are other rumors that it's a man-made virus, etc., but we won't go there. But if you think about it and just sit and be conscious.
You know, if I had to speak to the aliens, I don't know if I will be able to defend humanity. I don't know if I have enough evidence to say, yes, you know, we do deserve to live, or, you know, we can change, or we can actually evolve. No, I see.
My defense would be to the aliens is to look at our art, our music, our dance, our literature. We've created a lot.
Yeah.
So yes, there's a lot to save. There's a lot to defend.
Mm.
So I would make a defense.
You know, in times of crisis, you just see the true nature of a human being. You know, you see the love come out. You see
Absolutely.
people caring, people reaching out and supporting. You see all of that. But the moment the crisis ends, people return to being mean and horrible. I mean, right now the world is in lockdown where we've kind of forced to be by ourselves. But I can sort of envision the moment people are allowed to now go out, people will smile at other people. People will greet other people. Whereas before this, you know, you see another human being and you just cross and you just, you know, now if you had to see another human being, it's like, wow, you know, hi, kind of thing.
We're so happy to see them.
So I think we take a lot of things for granted, and we cannot be in this honeymoon phase, you know, where everybody wants to. Now, suddenly, everybody wants to meditate. But I like to see how many people are meditating after, you know, this whole thing blows over. And it will pass. Eventually, it will come to an end. So I think, you know, people like you need to just keep on holding the light and being an example of where we need to head. So I just want to thank you for being you and for the work that you do and for having this conversation with us. It's been really heart-opening, mind-opening talk that we've had. I wish that we could actually go on, but thank you for being here. It's been such a pleasure having you. Thank you for making time to actually be with us.
And thank you for allowing me to voice my opinion.
It's been a pleasure. You know, I'm looking forward to more conversations. And thank you. You know, if you're watching or listening, stay subscribed for our next episode in this series. And if you like this episode and you want to see more of Chandra, please let us know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching or listening, and I'll speak to you or see you again soon.